This is part 3 of the hero's journey. We are now going to focus on one aspect of the hero's journey, and that has to do with you being a beautifully unique individual and how to find your individuality and your truth in a stage of the hero's journey cycle. Remember, the best gurus direct you inside because everything you need is inside you already. This is how to access that information. Here's a quote from Joseph Campbell. "You enter the forest at the darkest point where there is no path. Where there is a way or path, it is someone else's path, and you are not on your own path. If you follow someone else's way, you're not going to realize your potential." So this presentation has to do with the guru step, the step where you've reached out for help. Hopefully you have found a guru who guides you to your inner resources and not a guru who tries to give you resources from outside yourself. Perhaps you'll find that you are the guru, the only guru you'll need. I'm sure you know people who have studied this or that. They find someone who excites them and they follow them, taking all their workshops and courses and reading their books and watching their videos. And then when that person tires of them or learns everything they can from them, he or she finds the next person, place, or thing that is exciting, and they go off on that tangent and follow them. And they continue to do that, staying with person after person or program after program. It can become quite habitual to surf that wave of excitement and knowledge, ride after ride. At some point, though, hopefully sooner than later, one realizes the largest ocean and the most fantastic waves to surf are those within. When one begins to explore that, which you are doing when you sit in your sacred sanctum each day, then a most interesting and fruitful life unfolds effortlessly as you progress on your path and realize who you are and why you are here and how to live beyond your full potential. If you remember Ken Carey's quote, "Ultimately, they believed the influences coming from outside themselves were more real than the influences coming from the presence of God within them. Believing lies, they exchanged their beautifully unique individuality for conformity to a fear-centered external code." And if you remember how I changed it ever so slightly, saying that they believed the influences coming from outside themselves were more real than the influence coming from their own truth within them. And then believing lies, they exchanged their individuality for conformity. If you cannot relate to or understand this quote, then you might as well just stop this video. This program is not for you. And if you can relate to this quote, let's go on. The process that I am about to introduce is how to find your own truth, how to find your own beautifully unique individuality based on the influences coming from within. How do I know about this process? From studying neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, which is a science of how the brain or the mind works. Also from observing my coaching clients and my own personal experiences, probably that most of all. Here's the deal and why it works. The experiences one has in their mind only can be experiential. That is, the mind does not know the difference between an event happening in, quote, reality, unquote, or physically, and an event that occurs within the vast expanse of their mind. An external or internal event can change one's physiology by changing the chemical messengers in the brain and body in a matter of minutes. Chemical messengers include neuropeptides, polypeptides, hormones, and more. Our brain functions in an elegant manner, striving for simplicity and usefulness. If a person's brain observes a way of operating that serves its person better, it incorporates that way of functioning with no effort. There is no learning, no sense of change, no conscious effort. This explains why the sacred sanctum sit presented earlier is effective. This explains how what you are about to learn can organically become your way of being. But don't take my word for it. Take what I am presenting here and rework it and repackage it in such a way that you take it in, you try it, decide whether it fits, whether it's useful or not. You can learn it effortlessly if it is useful. You'll customize it to fit you and only you. The number of steps and the process itself, which I've captured in a PDF for you, will seem complicated at first. After you get all of them, you'll understand the larger picture and can put your own spin on it. Here are the 5 basic steps. 1. Build in your mind an internal and external. 2. Compare the internal and external. 3. Decide whether or not to express yourself. 4. Speak your truth, if you have decided to express yourself. And 5. Repeat as needed. I'll explain each step. 1 is build in your mind an internal and external. Internal and external refer to scenes or windows. We'll get there. First, safety is always first. So if some external person, place, or situation is not safe, first, move yourself to a position of safety. This is most important. Then, when the crisis is over and you're safe, then build the following kind of safety bubble by closing your eyes and imagining a bubble that surrounds you in all 360 degrees, top and bottom. It can have any special quality that is desirable, such as you can see out but others can't see in. Also, no one is invited in the safety bubble, so don't even be tempted to invite anyone. No one allowed. Here are some examples of safety bubbles to get your creative juices flowing. How about a dome of some impenetrable substance? The nicest one I've heard of is a capsule surrounded by beautiful roses. A hidden secondary gain of the roses is if someone tries to get in, they are met with the thorns of the roses. Another one might be more organic, like a magic seashell or some otherworldly pod. If you had an actual bubble, what would its tough membrane be like? How about just an energy field, since you are already in an energy field, like your aura? Or someone once built a safety bubble in a formation of beautiful crystals. Remember, your safety bubble has to be all around you, above and below. The next part is to build in 2 screens or windows with a control board each that controls audio, visual, and more. So one screen is called internal, and this screen is for your truth. The other screen is called external, and it is what is happening outside of you. Where you place these screens in your safety bubble is critical. On the left or the right, one a little higher and one lower. You will be comparing them soon, so they both must be visible at once. Now, for each screen, you'll need to install a control board. You might enjoy a colorful control board like these, or you might prefer something like a sound board, a mixing board. Only your sound board controls way more than sound. Here are a few things that the knobs and sliders and faders and dials control. Focus, sharp or blurred. Color, enhancing it or going to black and white. The size of the screen, it expands and it shrinks. Location of the screen and the tilt, the angle of the screen. The audio volume, of course. Fast forward, slow-mo, and reverse for the movie and the volume. You will need some silly background music and the ability to turn serious voices into silly voices like a chorus of cartoon mice.